All right, welcome to Mr. Miller's Woodshop podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Miller. This is a reformatting and getting to know you episode. This school year is kicking off 2025, 2026. Red hot. I've got a lot of things going, a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of new classes, and a new individual that's joining my family. I've got 3 kids. The oldest of them is 4, and I've got another on the way. And so I need to be as efficient as possible. And so these episodes, for at least the next 9 months or so, are going to be roughly about 10 minutes. That's oddly enough about the time it takes me from my work, my school, Coon Rapids High School, to my home at the undisclosed location just outside of the town boundaries. So let's get into it. My name is Bobby Miller. I teach at Coon Rapids High School. I just wrapped up my 10th year in teaching. I teach primarily woodshop, but I've taught just about everything under the CTE banner. My specialty is in furniture and cabinetry. The class I feel like God put me on this earth to teach is called cabinetry, woods, wood tech, wood manufacturing, whatever you want to call that. That's what I'm here for. That's my strongest skill set and my biggest area of growth, in my opinion. I love going to the big time national shows. There's some local shows I go to. I love all the competitions, and I love talking about it, but not truthfully not in my classrooms. I would much prefer talking to you fine folks, and the students who are really interested can come and find me on here. I run my classrooms as efficiently as possible. I've got some pretty outside the box teaching methods for doing it. I actually can't use that method this year, and so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge that I'll have to talk about, but I'll get into all that as the time comes. And if you want to go back probably to the beginning of my podcast show, I go real deep into my background, my upbringing, my past careers, my summer jobs that I've had, and I think it's good listening if you're really curious what this is all about. If you are a teacher that's just discovering this and it's not 2025 anymore, go back to the beginning and just listen to them all. That's kind of my method when I find a podcast. If I were more organized and looking to up the search engine optimization of this, I would import more media into the description. I would categorize the episodes and the seasons that I'm doing. I mean, this could basically be the start of a new season, so we'll just call that season 2 right here. It is officially the 2nd year of me launching this podcast, and so I'm grateful for those who have been along the road with me. I'm hopeful for more because I'm not just trying to have this conversation alone in my truck like a weirdo. This season is very likely not going to incorporate video. It's just, like I said earlier, probably going to be a conversation between you and I while I'm driving home or driving to work in my truck. I'm trying to keep them short and sweet because that's what I'm also seeing as the trend in the podcast world is what's going on is that you're getting more short and sweet bites of media. I've got plenty of long-form half-hour to hour shows if you look back in the archives. And basically what I'm trying to do with this podcast and everything that I'm doing online is I am trying to document what shop teachers do, what they go through, the things available to them, the triumphs, the failures, because I feel like I've had many on each front. I've just come off the best and worst year of my entire teaching career. I talk about it in the podcast. I've got some considerable highs and lows, and I go over them. I talk a little bit about personal and a little bit about faith and a lot about my family because I am so blessed to have all these kids, and my wife stays home with them, and I am so grateful to her for her sacrifice, but in her own words, she doesn't want to be doing anything else, and she is grateful for the opportunity, and so I'm grateful for the opportunity to teach in an area that allows me to do that, and it's challenging at times, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I love what I do, and it's really exciting. I mean, right now I'm driving back to Safety Speed Manufacturing. I'm just right now passing Viren Wood Products, formerly Janish Wood Products. That's where I worked a couple of years ago. I choose summer jobs close to my house, primarily because the past couple of years my wife has been pregnant, and so I just try to stay close to home in case, we got to do a quick appointment. And yesterday, we had an ultrasound, and I was able to handle that at lunch. My wife picked me up. We went down to Blaine, did the ultrasound, and it's a wonderful capability. I'm a big believer in work-life balance, and you can achieve that as a teacher. All right, it's a myth, in my opinion, that teachers have got to, stay late and do grading papers and whatnot on the weekends. I think there are so many tools available to us now, and the opportunity to advocate for yourself to get the time during the workday, because it's kind of like an office job where you got to get your work done, and that's the understanding. You got to keep a KPI to hit, but teachers can do that during the workday. In my opinion, I don't work outside of contract time. I kind of feel like I'm paid for. Most of my jobs have been hourly jobs, and so it would never be the case like when I was working at Knapp Classic Cabinetry, where I would punch out and then go stay in a cabinet. It's just not my belief system, and like I said, I've got a family at home that needs me, and so I'm trying to do that. I'm grateful that all this technology exists. If I kind of stand on my soapbox here just for a minute, everybody complains about phones and technology and times these days, and we're really living in a very cool time, especially with AI coming out, and we are the ones that are trying to figure out how this can be best for our kids. I'm only 33 years old, and so about 17 years ago, I was handed a flip phone for my birthday, and maybe it was Christmas. I guess I don't really remember, but I was 15, got a flip phone. And my parents and the generation that came before us had to figure out that. And now I've got the opportunity to help my own children to figure that out, and plenty of students of mine here to figure it out, because I believe that cell phone in your pocket and what you're listening to me on is the most powerful education tool that we have available to us. I don't see why we are limiting its ability to enter the educational sphere so that students know how to use it well. The debate rages on, if they're good for kids, if it's bad for kids. Kids have them. So we got to teach them how to use it. If you look back into history for hundreds of years, the debate is electricity a good thing, or automobiles a good thing, are firearms a good thing? Well, if you're a responsible outdoorsman, when your child is about 10 to 15, you enroll them in a gun safety class, and that's kind of how I view these cell phones. They could potentially be more dangerous than that firearm that we send kids to get trained in on. And so that's kind of how I view them. If they're not educated on proper use, they'll probably improperly use them in the future. And that's the same for really any kind of tool that we're using. I can misuse the table saw, and my predecessor would, to demonstrate a point of how you can have a kickback or how this can go horribly wrong. And I don't do that. It's not my style. I work for a company in the summers called Safety Speed, and I'm a big believer in safety. I'm a 10-finger club member, lifetime member of the 10-finger club, and I expect all my students to be as well. We wear safety glasses. We build cool stuff. I don't believe in birdhouses and napkin holders for your woods project. Let's build some furniture. The pinnacle of my shop is we build a rocking chair, and it's gonna look a little bit different this year just based on the circumstances really outside of my control, or just enough outside of my control where it's kind of challenging. And I'm just rolling into work here, but please follow me on my other channels, Mr. Miller's Woodshop on Instagram, Facebook, X. You found this podcast, share it with somebody. I'm on YouTube. It's Mr. Miller's Woodshop everywhere. I'm not doing this just to be on my own. I don't earn any money for doing this. It is just you and me trying to make each other better. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can direct message me on any of those sites that you are on, or email me, at mrmillerswoodshop@gmail.com. And there's never any punctuation, just like a good shop teacher. So subscribe, follow, like, rate, review, all that good stuff. But most importantly, let's get in contact and let's do some cool stuff. Thanks, everyone. If you're still listening, I had car seat wriggling him in the back seat, and I got a can of WD-40 on my passenger side, so hopefully that wasn't too distracting. Didn't get in an accident. Got here safely, didn't break any laws. Have a good day, everybody.